Recently, during the tech interview, my friend was asked to create a simple to-do list in online code editor. That piqued my curiosity, and I have decided to take this challenge myself. For quick component prototypes, I like to use CodeSandbox IO. First, I'm going to change the title. I do not need this h2, so I'm going to get rid of it. And I will add input element instead, so the user can add to-do item. Next, I will add button element that would allow to add to-do item to the list. And next, I'm going to create an ordered list of items that will be added through that input field and button. By the way, I've made a mistake over here. Instead of UL inside UL tag, I have to use li. I'll fix it later. Now that I have all the items on the page, I'm going to add functionality. I will keep this component functional because this is very simplistic, and we'll use a hook useState to change the state of to-do list items. Let's add functionality to input field. Input field over here is a controlled component, which means it changes its value through the state, and respectively state changes through the callback that it's being called on change set to do. Just a little trivia. Another way to do it through the ref, but I'm not going to use it here. In which case, it will be uncontrolled component. I will use an object to track two properties: to do, that what needs to be completed, and is completed, whether or not this item has been completed. Next, I need to update input element to use useState hook. And now value of the input field reflects what I type in there. To make to-do list useful, I need to add three methods. First method is to add item, second method to update item, and the third method is to remove item. So first thing, I need to check whether or not there is any value in the input list. Then I'll have to use some kind of data structure. In this case, it's going to be an array to push that object into it. Third, I need to clear the input values. And the fourth, I have to render that to do on the page. Before rendering, let me check how it looks in console. Well, so far it looks as expected. So let's render it on the screen. In order to make it more modular and easier to read, I am gonna place li into its own functional component. All I do here is iterate through to-dos list and wrap every to-do item inside li tag so it can be rendered. In order to keep track whether or not item is completed and to delete the item, I need to add two buttons inside the li tag. So the first button will be updating the status of to-do item, meaning is whether or not it's completed or not completed. For that, I need to go ahead and create the second method from those methods that I described earlier that will be updating this property in specific to-do item. Let me make a quick control test over here and make sure it's changing this property is completed. As I'm working on this method, I have decided to move to-dos from outside the component to inside component and update that list using useState hook. And until I forgot, I need to update the first method with using useState instead of push into the list. And now that I can update property is completed of to-do item, I can use this property to update the text of the button to show the status of to-do item as well. And the last method that I have to implement in my to-do list is to remove to-do item. For that, all I have to do is find the item in my to-dos, remove it, and then re-render updated to-dos list to the screen. So let's add the button to remove to-do item into my li element and wire it so it will call that method to remove the to-do item. Okay, button is wired, now I need to add the method. Okay, now it's time to test. Okay, I just noticed that React is giving me a warning that I need to assign the key to to-do element. Alright, there, my mistake, I forgot. Ideally, because I'm going to be updating this list, adding items and removing items, using just IDX is not a good idea because the index will be changing depending on how many elements. So I make it more unique by adding the name of to-do and IDX. Essentially, they might be more different, make it more unique, but this is the way I go right now. Okay, and now as I test it, everything seems to be working properly. No more warnings. I can update, delete, add. All the basic functionality is there. All that I have to do right now is just add some styling so it will look and feel more presentable. I see that styles.css file is already there, so I'm gonna dump my styling into this file. However, I want to highlight to-do list to reflect whether or not it's completed or still to do. And for that, I need to use conditional styling, and I will use inline. By the way, if someone noticed that I used commas instead of semicolon to separate CSS properties, that reflects how much I'm used to React Native. And it's nice to come back sometimes to web and actually refresh my skills. After I added the styling, the page looks much more presentable. And the last thing that I want to do here is just highlight to-do item, whether or not it's completed or not completed. To select the colors, I'm going to use Google Chrome color picker from Developer Console. Oops, let me fix this mistake, because is completed is a property of value object. And as I'm checking, everything seems to be working correctly. So when the to-do item is not completed, it highlighted as a pinkish. As when it's completed, it turns into kind of greenish. So the project is completed, is good enough for these purposes. I'm gonna leave the links to this project below the video, so anyone who wants to play with it, you're welcome to. Thank you.